What's up, guys? Recording a tutorial of Orc against Night Elf. I said for some time I wanted to start recording more tutorials, and even for other races than human. I think it's probably good to do the challenging matchups. So Orc against Elf is known to be one of the more challenging matchups, especially versus Talons on this map. Like pretty well known. So yeah, we picked a Soin versus Kaho game, and we're gonna look very closely at everything that he does and take some notes on the exact builds. So obviously one of the first peon always makes the altar, and then the first peon that comes out of the Great Hall makes the burrow, always. And then the next one should be barracks. The very standard build that we used to see every game from Orcs when you go blades and grunts. Next one goes to gold, so you have 5. And then all of these will be sent to lumber, except for the scout peon, which will be the next one to come out after the one that went to gold. So yeah, once you have 5 on gold, the next peon to come out is gonna cross the map to go for a scout here. And we're focusing on Last Refuge here, but this probably applies on a lot of maps here if you want to play that style, is my guess. So you start Blade Master, you keep on making peons for now. And you head straight for the main. I think the goal is to see what hero is being made and what opener exactly. Yeah, you start a grunt as soon as you can. And you even make that extra peon to go up to 21 supply here in a moment. So yeah, take notes on all of this and then write it however you want, you know. Like you can write one of first peons builds, or like all peons to gold, 1 builds altar, first peon out makes burrow, second peon out makes barracks, third peon out to gold, and fourth peon out across the map to scout. And then go to 21 out of 21. And now you just scope the altar. You can time very easily the timing the hero of your opponent comes out by looking at your own altar. It should be the exact same progress bar. So now when your own blade is about to come out, you can check here and then see what's coming out. So obviously it's a keeper, no surprise. And then he knows pretty much that this will be done. So he doesn't even bother to check whether it's Mercamp or not. And we're gonna have the tech here as soon as he has the lumber. Yeah, tech at 21 out of 21. You see, it won't be immediate when the blade comes out. It's almost when he's at the middle of the map that you're going to have that lumber. He could have brought back lumber as well, but yeah, tech on 21 out of 21. And he went and he bought a circlet with blades. So buy a circlet at the merchants. This is applicable on a lot of maps, but probably not all of them. And then now he's going to go for the item here. Keep in mind, if he sends the blade first and attacks, and then the grunt comes from far away, he's gonna get ensnared here. So he keeps the grunt very close behind the blade. And then before the grunt was gonna get attacked, you wanna take the damage on the blade because he replenishes hit points quicker and he has more armor. So he made sure that, yeah, sell TP too as well. Yeah, good point, Ataria. Sell TP and buy circlet. And then after the peon saw the keeper also is gonna start heading home. And yeah, here we only wanna pick up the item. Yeah, start burrow as well when you can. So start burrow just before you start creeping the first camp. You should have the time. But if you haven't yet, then at 21 out of 21, when you have the resources, starts second burrow. I think the base build is important to note as well. Like, it's like applicable to a lot of races and a lot of maps. You kind of want to make the altar a bit forward, but not too far forward. And then your barracks at the front, because the barracks has 1200 hit points. The altar has 900. Technically, the altar is more important. So you want to cover it with the burrows behind, without blocking yourself. So here is left space for a building. He can get another one here later. You kind of want to factor that in. And like the shop usually will go here, maybe sometimes here. So you kind of want to map out exactly how you're going to build your base in most games and on most maps as well. But yeah, now he's trying to get the item, then he will get out of that camp. And he's sending that home as well to get more lumber from it. I guess the item. And then he sends the grunt home. You don't want to have the grunts out on the map against the keeper. You don't want them to get entangled and killed. So he's going to keep them at home mostly. And now the keeper shows up in the middle of the map. So we can see that he got a ring. So he just did this basically. And then he headed there. And instead of going treants, even when entangled, just to punish that one peon scouting. To reduce the lumber of his opponent. And also maybe sometimes to catch some of the grunts. So now Soin is going to get a beautiful deny to make sure the experience doesn't go to keeper. And then he starts shop behind this. I guess technically at 21 supply if you hadn't lost the peon, but yeah. After you crept first camp, maybe you can write... Or like the next thing to do is to make shop. Like start your shop at home. And place it kind of like that, like I said. Like see, he still has room here. He could have made it here also, kind of same thing. Now if he really has to retreat, he can retreat back there, have the burrows cover him, and then heal behind the burrow. An important thing to think about when you make your shop is that you want to have it inside of TP space. If you double click your TP, you're going to TP here, usually in that area. And then now you immediately are under the shop, you know? Like if you would make your shop here, this is kind of annoying. You double click, you TP here, and then you have to run all the way there. So it's probably better to just make it here like this. Yeah, he's just trying to be aggro on the other side of the map. Probably doesn't expect to do too much. I'm trying to make him empty some moon wells. I'm not as sure this is very effective, harass here, to be honest. Wait, he pulled the crypts? Okay, we need to watch this. It's pretty cool. Like, we saw that wisp earlier when he walked past. But now I think he pulled the crypts just so they wouldn't snare it. There is the denied, then the grunt goes here. And then the grunt, now when he walked, he saw the wisp on the minimap, or maybe he was looking. He even, he cleared the area for wisp here, very important. So he looked up there was no wisp, and he saw this one, and then now, while he's doing this, I think my guess is that he goes there and then runs out, so this gets ensnared. Yeah, see, so he doesn't get too close, then he runs out. And then now, this is very sick. The crypts ensnare this, and then he forces detonate. So he's like, okay, you want to kill one of my walkers? I'll get one of yours out of there as well. He's trying to be annoying. I guess he knows he can always escape and heal here. He ends up getting a nice steal. See, he was very patient with the windwalk. Don't steal this. This is too small. The orange you can, and then the blue one as well. But now if you would windwalk and try and steal, he would probably die, because he would get entangled, and there will be a windwalk on cooldown. So always be very calculated here with this. In this case, he knows he can't do much more, so he's gonna go home and get salves. Get salves. Now he waited until he had at least 2 grunts. Don't finish this with just 1 grunt, because you're just gonna take too much damage. It's not gonna be worth it. Whereas 2 grunts have way more damage together, and then now he can do this very easily. So tier 2 finishes, and you start. The first priority is TC. That's because it's certain that the opponent is gonna go. He's gonna go for Talons. So even before they're started, he's already trying to counter, basically, which is like a high-level advanced thing. But to be honest, I think on this map, a lot of people are known or will go for Talons very often. And then it's not like if you go TC and then the opponent doesn't play Talon, it's a disaster. It's still salvageable. So yeah, it's not like, you know, he goes for this and then if Kaho goes for something else, he's lost or something. But yeah, he starts TC and then bestiary, second priority. And yeah, he went up to 3 grunts, by the way. So after the first one, once the second burrow completed, he made 2 more, and then you get the totem. So obviously when you get 3 grunts, you're gonna have to get Berserker Strength eventually, so we'll see when he gets it. He's still trying to be active across the map. Gets a steal, gets the tome. We're under attack! And he finishes this camp, and then now this is the moment where in your head you start completely mapping out how you're gonna be creeping your second hero. So now it's very clear that the TC should start with this. But then what does he get next? Probably this. Will be kind of easy. Maybe he could even get this. Like, whichever order he wants to do it into. The goal is always to rush level 3, basically, with the TC. We're under attack! And usually you will see second hero very often rally to the shop here. So he can buy speed scroll, salves. He's already starting the camp, interestingly. So yeah, he sent it to the shop first. You always open aura here, I think, when you play this style. Because you don't want to spend your mana on creeps. You also want to have the attack speed that the aura provides. Yeah, one of the creeps here was done before TC was out, but the 2 other will finish on time for him to get the XP. And yeah, once you get the bestiary, he gets both research, interestingly. So it's not like he goes Raider Walker. Instead, he gets Ensnare plus Spirit Walker Adept Training, and then he will make units. Blade is still doing a good job. I would say, like, if you're in the lower leagues and you have a hard time doing good harass with Blade and you're losing it very often, maybe play more conservative here. Like, just have it on hold position nearby, but don't go in as much as this, because like the multitask is obviously very hard. And pay attention to how Soin creeps as well. Like, every camp will be like very clean. Like, for example, he comes to this one here, he will obviously kill the Trapper first. It's because he's got 400 hit points instead of 600. And he does way more damage than the Ogre. Actually, well, it does less damage, but it attacks quicker. So he put the Grunts on the Trappers, he tanked the Magi with... I tank a lot of the top 2 creeps with the TC. Again, that's because he's got a decent amount of armor. And now you see, he got a little overeager, maybe he got mana burnt and he got entangled and he loses the blade, which is a disaster, but it's not unrecoverable from, as you will see. TC is 2.2. He could creep this, but this is very little experience and this will also poison his units. And then, okay, so he waited until he had started, I think. He made Ensnare, then he made the Raider, and he made Spirit Walker Training, and I think maybe around the time he made Spirit Walker Training, he made Brute Strength. I mean, we can just go back and watch, so we can be very precise in our notes. Because I think usually when top players like this, they have exact timings for everything. So yeah, tier 2 TC, Bestiary, Totem in this order. Then I wonder if Brute Strength is next. No, not yet. Probably wants to prioritize his units out of the 2 new buildings. So yeah, he buys 1 set of salves plus speed scroll on the TC. Remember, he has a bunch of salves on the blade. Then he gets Ensnare. Then he gets Spirit Walker Adept Training. And then the 3rd burrow. Oh, that's why. Okay, because he's on 31 out of 31. So you see how precise it is. Like when his TC starts, he's going to have 31 out of 31, so he doesn't have room to make any more units. So then he waits to start these 2 upgrades, and because he will not make any more grunts, or at least I don't think so, right? You don't want to make grunts against Talons, they're the worst unit that you could make. He needs to wait for these upgrades to finish before he can make units, so he makes those 2 upgrades, he starts the burrow, and then they're going to finish at the same time, and then he's going to start 2 additional units from these. So 31 out of 31 after starting Ensnare and Training, you get the 3rd burrow. We're under attack. And then, once you have the wood, you start Brute Strength. I think he got jebaited here. He was trying to last hit. Oh, he got surrounded, that's why. An entangle alone wouldn't have killed him, but a surround would do it. So yeah, here, as soon as he can, he's gonna start a Raider. I guess he lost Blade, which allowed him to... Instead of remaking Blade instantly, he started a Raider, and then he waited for the burrow to finish, then he remade Blade. And then now he's gonna start a Walker. Very important, like, the macro here, you wanna get those units as soon as possible. Don't be floating a lot of gold. Don't be focusing on creeping, don't be focusing on harassing. Focus on this macro here, because this is the more important part. So yeah, Soin actually, he wanted to rush that level 3, so instead of going for this, he goes for the Mercamp. One of the best things you can do when you have a TC and you want to creep a Mercamp with only 3 grunts, you buy the Troll Berserker. This guy is going to give you a lot of additional damage. So he buys it instantly. You kill the Mud Golem first so it doesn't slow your entire army, and then you kill the healer / inner fire creep. Then you go for the Rock Golem. And then you can pull the aggro here. Very easily. If TC is about to die, you can fake an attack on the Raider. And he'll be fine. And you see he kept his spells open here. So he opened Aura, then he selected nothing on level 2 and 3. That's because maybe if he would see like lore play, he might go Stomp, I guess. When Grunt gets caught, it's too late for him. Don't go saving Private Ryan and lose the game because of it, especially he has no second hero, so... Just like, alright, this Grunt got caught, he's screwed, I'll just let him die. He goes to the shop and gets 1 healing scroll, very important against that style. I don't know why he's not giving Talons to the blade, but I think he saw he could easily secure this creep here. So he got that. Disengages. You really want to heal up a little bit here before you have to engage. I feel like Talons belong on the blade and this Mana Stone belongs on the TC, but he's not doing the transfer. You see, he's only trying to build Raiders and Walkers here, which will be the good counter against Talons. I think it's also why he got a Berserker. That's also good against Talons. You don't want to make more Grunts. You just make the 3 in start and then you never make them again. They're terrible. They take extra damage against magic, so... Soin re-engages, gets the creep, shockwaves, then pulls back. If you get entangled here, don't panic, just pull back. See, he doesn't even have any disenchant anymore. Raider gets caught. He just keeps shockwaving for now. He just used the Mana Stone. He's trying to wear this army down. He might have noticed that there was no healing scroll. But that's why he did that. So he's trying to keep the Demon Hunter at bay so he doesn't get mana burn on his TC all the time. With Raiders. And then he comes in and he shockwaves all the time. So Colorful went back. He grabbed the healing scroll that he used instantly to get everything back to full. So Colorful, this is supposed to be a strong push here. On... sorry, not Colorful, Kaho. On 50 supply. And yeah, he gets Cyclone, then Entangled, but he still had time for 1 more Shockwave. He's probably gonna buy a Mana Pot, yeah. So it's all about wearing this army down here with Shockwaves. You see, he's not taking a full-on engagement. He's just wearing it down. And then now, yes, he has no more mana on the TC, but he finally has the Talons on the blade, and then the army being already low is ready to re-engage. He's not gonna waste time on heroes too much. He's just trying to get rid of the army first and foremost. I guess the Tinker was too far at the front, he punishes, but the Raiders should be on the Talons because they kill them very quickly, you see? A great micro by Soin, really. Making sure that the Raiders are on the Talons, he gets rid of them. Yeah, disenchant's really needed when you have everything like this with Fairy Fire, especially when there is only 2 Talons left. Another Mana Pot or 1 single Shockwave. It's definitely worth now that they lowered the price of Mana Pots. Yeah, he ends up killing the Keeper. Demon's trying to escape, but I don't think so. Really great prioritization here. This is a very sick hold. Like, again, he lost his blade horribly here, then he lost the Grunt that got entangled here. It looked really bad. Some people would have given up. He's like, nah, I'm chill. He's just messing a good Raider Walker count. And then now that he's killed 3 heroes, he knows there is a bit of a queue in the altar. But Kaho actually went for a revive on the Keeper, which means he emptied the Moonwells. Obviously kind of high level, but maybe you can read into that sometimes. And then now he's like, okay, this is my strong timing now with 48 supply. He didn't even grab a scroll either. Yeah, disenchant's so perfect against Keeper here. If there is only 1 unit Cyclone, I don't think you need to disenchant. Like, you really want to pace your disenchants really well. I think if everything like this is very fired and 1 unit is Cyclone, you can try to land it on everything maybe, but especially like Cyclone on heroes doesn't last very long, so you can kind of ignore it sometimes. And yeah, he ends up just taking the win. And I thought that was a good example of a game on like how to play with. Obviously, Kaho probably overextended. Like, he tried to push too hard, but I think Soin this was like textbook. Other than for the 2 big mistakes he made, perfect in terms of decision making, wearing this army down and then showing how to fight against this style here, and then when to finally hit the timing himself. He was on the back foot, and then just chilled at first. But then once he started adding up those shockwaves and he saw everything was low, he kind of pounced on Kaho, who maybe should have, I don't know, TP'd out or something, maybe been more cautious. But yeah, I hope this helps. And I recorded this while streaming, so I'm gonna check out some of the notes from some people. Actually, I'm gonna encourage people to post their notes. Like, if you guys watch this on YouTube, I would love to see the notes that you took from this game. Post them under the video, and so I can see exactly how it looks like. And yeah, until next time.